This is FYI, conversations with interesting people about fascinating projects happening in Ohio.
And I'm JT. Welcome to FYI. Today, an interesting Ohio connection. If you have ever put together a shoebox for Operation Christmas Child, today we are talking with Alex, who received a shoebox from maybe right here in the Miami Valley. You never know. You never know. But Alex, such an honor to be talking with you. My wife, church we went to for 20 some years, every year faithfully helped put together boxes. One of her favorite projects every year. She worked at a Christian school and they would put together boxes. And it's so neat to talk to you who received a box. Alex Nsegimana. Is that pretty close? Did I get that
Very
last?
close. You nailed it. Yeah, it's good.
Right.
Yeah.
Alex, looking forward to hearing your story. I understand you lived in Rwanda.
That's correct.
And got a shoebox. What was it like getting a shoebox?
Yeah. Thank you, JT, for having me on air and giving me the honor and privilege of sharing how Operation Christmas Child made a difference in my life. I was a 7-year-old living in an orphanage when I got to receive an Operation Christmas Child shoebox gift. That moment was so special that I will never forget to this day. Now, prior to living in an orphanage, the reason I was in an orphanage was due to hatred that had been created in people's lives in the small country of Rwanda. Growing up as a little boy, I remember when Rwanda was going through this tribal strife. Hatred had been created between the Hutus and the Tutsis. And in 1800s, when the colonial time was happening, that's when the tribes were divided. People of Rwanda divided in these tribes. Well, many people believed in the hatred, and they said to go against their neighbor. From the time when we got independence in Rwanda, the first leadership that came on was a type of leadership that would fuel the hatred instead of putting an end to it. And that continued to go on. So in 1994, the big genocide against the Tutsi tribe that you may have heard about was when, from April to July of 1994, 1 million people lost their lives and over 400,000 orphans were left in the country. This was a difficult time. I was 6 years old when all of that happened. And me and my brother and my sister, we lived with our grandmother and our 2 uncles in a small little village outside of the capital city. But when we were growing up and we had a great childhood with our grandmother, one of the moments that was devastating to us was when this genocide against the Tutsi tribe started and our grandmother and one of our uncles would be killed. Oh. And me and my brother and my sister, we would find ourselves running from family to family, from place to place. And as we went from place to place, God was protecting us. God was doing so many miracles to protect us along the way. For example, when we would come to roadblocks and these militias would call us over and they would never bother touching us at all. And they would tell us to turn around and we thought they were going to take our lives, but we would start crying and then they would say, just keep walking. Another miracle, when I would be running and a bullet would miss my head because I slipped and fell in a cow pie. Miracles after miracles that God was doing along the way. But at the end of 3 months, now can imagine, like in 3 months, 1 million people were killed and over 400,000 orphans were left in the country. It's just it goes to show that Satan came and built a nest in Rwanda, and people didn't believe their own neighbors were human beings, and that the dehumanization had been going on for years and years. So after the genocide, I was put in an orphanage. And I get into this orphanage. Right when I was in this orphanage, that's when me and 250 other kids had lost our loved ones. It was a difficult time where now that we're not running physically, our minds had started to relive everything we had seen through the genocide. But when the genocide ended in July, Samaritan's Purse Samaritan's Purse runs the project of Operation Christmas Child, and Samaritan's Purse is an international evangelistic organization that responds to different disasters around the world. And this organization is based in North Carolina. So they brought Operation Christmas Child shoeboxes to our orphanage in 1995, and that's when I got to receive a gift that I received for the very first time in my life. JT, it was so special. I will never forget those moments when all of us, 250 of us, got to open a gift.
That is so cool. So what you open a box, I mean, we pack those here. They put toothbrushes and pencils and all kind of little things. What happened when you opened your box? What happened?
It was fun. We were screaming of excitement when all of us, 250 of us, got to open our gifts. And as I opened my shoebox gift, looking through the items, I remember very specifically seeing school supplies and seeing hygiene items, just as the items that you just mentioned, and seeing this unique hair comb. This hair comb was so unique that I actually kept it for the next 3 years. And it had a brush on one side and had a little pick on the other side. So I kept this hair comb for the next 3 years everywhere I went. It was so special.
Nice.
My other favorite item was this watercolor that was in there that there was no water because we cannot put liquid in a shoebox, but you would take the brush and you would dip it in the paint, and then you would dip it in the water, and then you dip it in the paint. It was so special. The whole shoebox experience reminded us to be boys and girls. As a 6-year-old, 7-year-olds, even younger, we were running for our lives from people trying to take our lives. So when we got that shoebox gift, it was so powerful that we got to think that someone out there was thinking about us and we were not forgotten. And the shoebox didn't stop there with the tangible items, but the shoebox gift planted seed of hope and love of Jesus Christ in my life. I didn't know the Lord at that time, but the seed was planted in that moment when I opened my shoebox gift, and I was so excited.
That is so cool to hear. Traumatic story. I'm glad you made it safe. I'm glad you got a shoebox. Now, you eventually came to the States. How did that work?
Yeah. After receiving the Operation Christmas shoebox gift and being reminded of God's love and feeling so special, another organization came to Rwanda and they chose 12 of us, and we went to Uganda to join this choir. And while I was in Uganda, I was learning English. And actually, while I was in Uganda, this is when I came to know the Lord, because at this point, my faith that I had as a little boy was my grandmother's. And watching my grandmother being killed, my faith was gone. Had been shattered. And so while I was in Uganda, this is when God started to remind me that his presence was with me from the day I was born. And a verse that God used to communicate that to me was Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11, where it says that, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans of welfare and not of evil, to give you a future and a hope. Then you will call upon me and come and pray to me, and I will hear you. You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart." 9 years old, didn't know who God was talking to, didn't know what the journey of the Israelites. But that's when I realized that God had to have a plan for my life, and I looked back and I saw the miracles. And then I came to the US with a choir, traveled for 2.5 years, and then I would meet a family who later on adopted me into their family when I was 15 years old, and came and lived. And God had a sense of humor. He sent me to the coldest part of the country, Minnesota. Lived in Minnesota for 10 years, and I actually got connected with the Operation Christmas Child on this side of the story when I was in high school, and I have the privilege of packing boxes today.
That is so cool. That is so cool.
Yeah.
So I understand that you help pack and help send them back. How does that feel to be able to be on this side of sending boxes and thinking about those kids that receive boxes?
Yeah. Every time I pack a shoebox gift, I am so excited. And it reminds me of my childhood. It reminds me of when I was 7 years old, standing in line and getting ready to receive a gift, and the excitement that I had. I can picture that child who is going to receive the shoebox that I pack. I can picture them being excited and being so happy. And then I can also picture them being discipled through their local church when they receive that shoebox gift, because that's what's happening today. when children receive shoeboxes, they get discipled through their local church. The ministry decided to develop a discipleship program called The Greatest Journey in 2009. And children get, for 12 weeks, they're learning the Bible stories, they're learning how to be disciplers themselves, sharing the good news that they've just learned. And I picture that child coming into a relationship with their Heavenly Father, just like I did years later. And I picture them being impacted and the seed being planted. And that shoebox gift that I pack with the fun items, and I pack it really full, and I write a letter to personalize the shoebox gift. I write a letter and put a picture in there. It is so fun for me to be able to pack those items. I also pack the items that I got in my shoebox gift, if I can find them.
Yeah.
And then I also put in some new items such as toolkits, soccer ball, wow items such as a soccer ball. Always put that in there. And hats and gloves, sometimes I put them in there. You never know how God is going to answer a prayer for a child.
He may send those kids to
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota. Yeah.
Yeah, you never know. Yes, absolutely.
Now, I understand you also have had the chance then to go back to Rwanda and
Correct. Yeah.
see and deliver boxes.
Yeah.
That must have been emotional.
Yeah. It was special to be traveling to Rwanda with Operation Christmas Child in 2013 to deliver shoeboxes in the same place that I grew up in. It was emotional. It was incredible. And I remember standing in the same place and just being wowed how God opened this opportunity for me to be able to deliver shoebox in the same place I grew up in. I remember kids being excited, explaining to them some of the shoebox items that they had in their shoebox gifts, and as we had fun and reading The Greatest Journey to them, it was so powerful that I'll never forget that moment. And I'm grateful for the privilege of having that opportunity to go and deliver shoeboxes in the same place I grew up in.
Yeah, so cool.
Yeah.
Now, I think you also had a chance to visit someone in prison that was actually unfortunately a dark character in your life.
Yeah. Yeah, that in 2013, when I got to go to the prison to visit the people who had caused me pain, it was this moment was an answer to prayer that I've been praying for 12 years. When I received the shoebox gift as a 7-year-old living in an orphanage, a seed of the gospel was planted in my life. Years later, God sent me people to water that seed, to counsel me, to love on me, to disciple me. Yeah. And so for me, my journey of faith was challenged when I started to read the Bible, and the Bible would tell me that God loved the people who also caused me pain. My healing journey was started when one of the chaperones came to me one day and said, "Tell me your story." So I shared my story for the first time. And she would later on ask me, and she would say, "Alex, what if you would sit with the person who has caused you the most pain in your life? What would you do?" That question challenged me to pray this audacious prayer. "Lord, help me to heal, that one day I can actually be able to see them." So I tried 2 times, and it didn't happen. And then in 2013, when I wasn't trying, that's when God chose to answer that prayer. And I went to the prison. I found out that the guy who had killed my grandmother fled, but the guy who had killed my uncle was still there. And that's the man we got to meet, the man we got to have a conversation with him. And he was in denial, didn't want to meet with me for the first few minutes, but as he realized what I was there, he was able to have a conversation. You see, in my healing journey, I always prayed for the opportunity to hear the other side of the story, because that will bring a closure for me. And I'm grateful, beyond grateful, that God granted me that opportunity. Wow. In 2008, when I tried for the first time, it didn't happen because I thought I was ready, but God knew that I wasn't ready. And 2010, it didn't happen. And then 2013, that's when God chose to answer that prayer. And I'm grateful how God chose to heal me. Now, you may be here listening to this and think, "Oh my goodness, that's incredible." It is incredible for what God has done, not what I have done. Because honestly, I wanted to kill that man too. That's how angry I was. But it was Jesus Christ coming in my life, challenging me, and using people around me, my mentors, my disciples, who came and helped me, guide me into the deep forgiveness that Jesus Christ offered to us, on the cross, and I want to share that with that person.
Wow.
And all that started when I got to receive that shoebox gift. The seeds came in that shoebox gift from Operation Christmas Child in 1995 when I was 7 years old, living in an orphanage.
What a story. That is so cool, Alex. Thank you for sharing your story. That's absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
We are out of time. One last question.
Mm-hmm.
People this year, they're going to be packing shoe boxes. What kind of advice do you tell them? What do they put in the box? What's important? 30 seconds.
Yeah. So when you pack a shoebox gift, you can put in school supplies, hygiene items, and toys. And on our website at SamaritanSpurs.org/OCC, there's opportunities to look for more items. And we collect these shoeboxes the third week of November 18th to the 25th. Don't miss out the date of an opportunity to make a difference in kids' lives by packing a shoebox gift from Operation Christmas Child.
Alex, you're absolutely amazing. Thank you for sharing your story. I'll never forget this interview. Thank you so much.
Thank you, JT. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.